I return for another night of Phoenix Wright. 3 in a row so far. But I have a feeling that we're getting very close to the end. Ooh, guess who didn't decide to restart their router before the stream? Whoops. Although, everything seems okay so far. Let's hope it stays that way.
I just woke up from a little nap. Just kind of the past couple of days catching up to me a little bit.
I was pretty tired today at work. So, I'm looking forward to solving this case and getting an early sleep. So anyways, I hope everybody's doing well. Happy Monday. Boogie says hi too, in his usual fashion. Yep. You getting all settled in while I get started, huh? Come here. Have a seat, Booger. There you go. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, over Thanksgiving, while I was doing FaceTime with my stepbrother, just kind of like, we reach out to our family members and stuff who aren't there. He was at his current girlfriend's house, and they have a black and white Shih Tzu named Boogie, which is kind of funny considering Boogie here is a black and white cat. I thought that was kind of a funny coincidence, apparently, but I was the only one that thought it was funny. So, go figure. Anywho, why don't we get started? Now remember, don't do anything whiskey. No! We're not starting that again!
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I just saw crosscode in my stream scene list. I keep getting reminded about this game, and I thought about it tonight. I was thinking, man, I don't know if it already got its first official release or what, but it's gonna be time to do that here pretty soon if it is. But anywho, we'll worry about that another day. Tonight is Phoenix Wright. Yes. One moment. Okay, good. Everything's fine with the stream. No problems. Cool. Well, we're ready to go. Clack. So right as we left off last time, we discovered that Emma is kind of under fire right now because it was discovered that she had pushed Neil into a suit of armor by accident. She didn't do it on purpose, and it impaled him. So the court was in an uproar, I think, due to more allegations of concealing evidence and things like that. So the court had to take a short recess, and I'm doing my best to keep track of all these details. This is why I'm doing it 3 nights in a row, just so that everything's fresh in my head and I don't forget anything. But I'll tell you what, it is getting hard to keep track of all this stuff. So if you're not sure where we're at right now, you could skip this for tonight and go watch the VODs, just so that you don't spoil anything for yourself. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, I would like to finish this tonight as well. I'm looking forward to seeing the resolution to this. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble.
Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Oh, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Making sure we haven't seen this already. This seems familiar. I hope we didn't already do this part. I'm pretty sure I saved. You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it all off, he called me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lena's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Okay, this is new. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial, see? Evidence law. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day.
I'm sure you know the 2 rules of evidence law, don't you, Wright? Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so.
You could at least study some evidence law, really.
The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message, see? A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him. Guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Why don't we read it right now? Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. I disagree. I would like to read it. There's so much evidence. From Miss Sky explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Rules for submitting evidence. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case in trial. That first one's kind of scary. To me. Especially if we're going to be putting you-know-who up on the stand. Considering he's the chief of police. I don't know how that's going to work, but... because we still have this thing. This really hasn't come up yet. A clear handprint can be seen on the leather cloth. The print belongs to Emma. I think I'll keep this information to myself. So we haven't really done anything with that yet. And if Gant was hiding that in his safe, he's not going to approve of it. But let's just keep going. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Hmm?
Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me.
Mr. Edgeworth.
The real trial today hasn't begun yet.
What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Sky found out she unwittingly caused a man's death. And now, you're telling me you want me to do more? Or you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, Detective. Lena didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're gonna expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end.
Oh boy.
I'll go put my water on my little coaster over here.
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lady Sky. Mr. Edgeworth,
Yes, Your Honor.
the inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions.
Thank you for the news, Your Honor.
Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls for the witness, but, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that Mr. Edgeworth may have,
Struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses?
I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and...
Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution.
A solution?
That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all for the witnesses.
What? But there's never been a case example.
Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal.
Then it's settled. The, defense may now call forth the next witness.
Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance? If you call the wrong witness, this trial's as good as over.
The defense calls... The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Where's the blue badger at? Yeah, I think we all saw this coming. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand.
Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything?
As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it.
As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have... Your arms are sticking out of me! No! He also would have been the least likely... Oh god. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor?
True. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Kent to the stand.
Oh boy. Witness, please state your name and occupation.
What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch.
Your name and occupation, sir.
Worthy, are you sure you want to do this?
Your name and occupation.
So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Kent. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police.
Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony.
Oh, righto. What's with the grim face?
First, let's clear up this SL9 incident.
Oh, you mean that time when Lada's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already.
There are still some things unaccounted for,
Oh? Like what?
like the role you played in all of this.
Excuse me. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons.
Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to.
What? Is that true?
I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify.
Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks.
Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony.
Ugh.
This guy's creepy.
As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lena there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Doc was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Doc bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut.
If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Save. Save early, save often. I feel like we're gonna need to. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day.
Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Doc and made him run away like that.
Was the defendant Lena Sky also present in the room?
I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Doc ran for it.
So the two of you ran immediately after him, right?
That's right, but Doc made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs, and I went downstairs, I guess you could say. He got lucky.
What's this about the power outage?
Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went into his heart, though.
That's not funny. Could you tell us what you saw?
It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together.
Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor?
Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls.
Lena and Emma.
Lena was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done.
Bloody!
How can you know that?
Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved.
So that means... You found the body near Lena's desk.
That's right. I think you said earlier, it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor.
Yes.
Anyway,
Clap, clap, clap. He's clapping in leather gloves. That's not easy. I mean, you can do it, it's just... I mean, it wouldn't particularly feel good. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office?
that's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lena must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances.
Is that how it really went down?
Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record.
Worthy, always a smooth talker.
But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lena did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Well, hold on. Let's look at all the stuff we've got, just to kind of refresh our memory here. So, as far as Gant's office is concerned, he's playing with his stupid hair. There was the jar, which broke, and we found a piece of it inside of his safe, along with the cloth. And it was only openable through his passcode, which, as we've seen, is also the same number here. But I wonder... Edgeworth does seem to want me to do something here. Final fragment found in Chief Gant's safe. Emma is written on the surface in blood. Found in Chief Gant's safe. Evidence for something, but what? Bears Emma Sky's prints. I don't feel like that's going to be a good way to start this off. I would say the jar, more than anything else. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up.
Explain yourself.
Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example.
That's the blue badger you showed us earlier.
A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk.
It was found where?
You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation.
Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Oh, he's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy.
So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery?
Who, me? Or do you mean you?
Me? Why would I have anything to do with that?
Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys could do so too. Isn't that right, Righto?
However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation.
Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment.
Oof.
What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work.
Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and the relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene.
My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging a crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor?
when investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol.
You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences.
Oh.
Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again.
My apologies, Chief, but you wouldn't mind waiting until tomorrow for that. Today is, well, you know.
Alright, Aji. In return, though.
I know. That place, right?
Huh? What are these guys? Telepathic? Oh god, are they gonna have bonding time behind the swimming hole? I'd appreciate it if you stopped making these ridiculous allegations.
Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that.
What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped...
Mr. Wright, what are you saying?
Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later.
Later? What are you talking about?
What else? I'm talking about when your fingerprints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove your investigation was illegal.
I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. And he must have tipped a cow. What do you mean by that?
This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery.
If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery...
I'm not through speaking yet, Mr. Wright. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered.
Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation?
It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced.
Oh, wouldn't that be convenient?
Right? The Chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time.
Tell me something I don't know.
Come now, Master Wright. Think about it.
There's no reason you participate. I don't know about that. How can you look me in the eye and say that?
Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil?
I'm not sure I care for the word murder here, but in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was a Miss Guy.
So then he would want to blackmail her sister, obviously.
Well, now do you see?
Really, Chief Gant. At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this.
Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit?
That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police.
Oh,
The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive.
Oh, oh, that's a good one.
Huh?
Do you really think I'm that incompetent?
What do you mean?
Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little.
Is that true, Edgeworth?
Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway.
No! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at.
So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else.
Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Haji, would you mind if I change my testimony a little?
By all means, please do.
Well, I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you?
Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lena's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again.
You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone.
Be tough on crime, and tough on people. That's how I was raised.
You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though.
Oh, that's a good one, Worthy.
Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Yeah, I would say so. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone.
Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand.
That's not what I mean.
Very well, I'll ask. Who is this person you believe Chief Kent may have helped forge evidence?
I think it's pretty obvious, don't you?
Chief Prosecutor Lena Sky, defendant.
I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lena? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lena if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit.
Self-profit? What do you mean?
After the SL9 incident was resolved, he would have control of the prosecutor's department, wouldn't he? Yeah, Lena Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant.
But how would he profit from all this?
He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations.
Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh, wait. You must mean puppet, as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind.
Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lena Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her.
Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something.
What?
Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lena? For example, is Lena testifying that I've done such a thing?
Lena. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant.
I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture.
Unless that is also what happened in this incident.
This incident, which one would that be?
Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her.
Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt.
Just what do you mean?
What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lena take the rap to cover up his involvement.
What? Order! 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 I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious!
What?
This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency! To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder! That's impossible!
Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language.
It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now.
Looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this.
Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder?
Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell.
I see. Alright then. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Just remember, it better be good.
Save. Save. Save! No! Oh no.
I cannot. Shit.
Well, we're trying to pin him to Detective Goodman's murder, right? Oh! I'm an idiot. Right, there's still this. We have his number on the sheet. That would mean that he entered the room 20 minutes before Edgeworth and had enough time to get Goodman and kill him. Or, well, he brought Goodman in with him, I think. If I'm thinking correctly. Just trying to remember all the crap from yesterday. I'm going for it.
This is the ID card list.
Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 777.
Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number.
It's your number.
What? How do you know that?
The safe in Chief Gant's room, the safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code.
7 digits? You don't mean...
I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 77777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant. Oh, he's looking pissed now! You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say?
Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations.
And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card.
Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime?
What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. I can even piss in my own locker if I want.
Just imagine him in the evidence room just like urinating violently into his locker.
I'm the motherfucking police chief, bitch!
Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone?
I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do at the evidence room.
Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he?
Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days.
You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant. I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine this guy's guilt.
No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting?
Gant needs someone to hold his hand while he pees.
In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime.
Oh boy. Okay, but let's just carefully look through everything. I don't know about the autopsy report. "12-centimeter knife. Shows proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime." I'm telling you, I should just show the Blue Badger for all of this. He's responsible. Screwdriver. Goodman's last night. Wait a minute. To be submitted to the chief. I think this is it. I think this is what ties it together, but let me... Hold on. Let me... Evidence list, no. That was supposed to be the day of the SL9 transfer. I think this is what ties it together. Because Goodman would have had to report that his ID card was lost because Jake Marshall took it that morning. Goodman would have had to file this report, although it's not complete. He probably went up to Gant and was like, "Hey, I lost my ID card."
It's like, Goodman, my boy. I got you, bro.
I'm doing it. Show your attorney's badge! I wish. Alright. We're going for it. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime.
Well, to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it.
So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police.
Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it.
He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day.
You needed to?
Yes, to transfer the evidence out.
Oh,
Detective Goodwin took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room.
I accompanied him?
There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room.
Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman.
Exactly.
but wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card.
Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort.
Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. But you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body.
Whoa! Oh my god. The wrath of Thor just lit through him.
Chief Gant, you didn't!
The murder was most likely committed on the spur of the moment. No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lena at the prosecutor's office. Why else? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body. However, I like how he objected just to continue the story.
The victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there?
I was at the police department the entire day, you know.
And everyone's aware that Lena stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony.
Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal.
Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body up to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue, just taking up space. Oh,
How could the chief have moved a body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence.
to move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Useless piece of evidence. Useless piece of evidence? Well, this wasn't useless. What haven't we touched yet? The screwdriver! Evidence brought from a past case of Edgeworth's brought back to his office by Gant's request. He asked Edgeworth to bring the screwdriver back to the prosecutor's office. So, wait. So they could have put him in the trunk of Edgeworth's car, and then he would have transported him. Well, not willingly, but that makes a lot of sense when I think of it that way. I think. I mean, there can't really be any other way, could there be? The glove? No. Not the cloth. That's not gonna help here. Evidence list? No, but he specifically said that he wanted Edgeworth to take the screwdriver with him. Yeah, he wanted Edgeworth to hold on to it, didn't he? This is how he moves Detective Goodman's body.
What's that? A screwdriver?
Oh god, I got hiccups.
What does that have to do with this case?
Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here?
It's here because...
Ah!
I was asked to go, my chief can't no less. They told me he wanted me to keep it at the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back to the prosecutor's office. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office.
But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to.
You mean I?
The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Oh my god. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car.
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Yes, unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lena Skye.
Order! 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 What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite.
It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk.
Chief Kent, please say something.
I believe... your time's up.
My time's up.
Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special.
But what? The cross-examination isn't finished yet.
Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Like lunch.
Weapons?
Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now.
What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
So you're going to just run away after all this?
Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now.
Well,
You think I had later disposed of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Kent is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright,
Your Honor? Do you
have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Kent murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body?
I have any concrete proof? It's time to save again. God. Before I forget. I was like nervously thinking about hitting that button. I was like, please let me save.
Please.
Do I have any concrete proof that ties him and Lena together? I mean, the only thing I can think of left here is this. There has to be a reason this was given to me. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case and trial. You know what? I think he's trying to goad me into showing off the leather strip. But for the sake of my burning curiosity, my gut is telling me not to show anything. But I am curious. I can't let him just squirm his way out of this. I've got to keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor. I do have such evidence.
And please hurry up and present it. Just remember, if not approved, Chief Gant would let Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of a doubt.
This feels really wrong. But
So, what exactly is this evidence?
it's proof. As to whether or not it's enough to demonstrate the Chief's guilt, I'll let you be the judge.
But I am the judge.
Oh, right. Well, what do you think, Your Honor?
What do you think, Mr. Wright?
I'm gonna be late for my meal. I guess not. That wasn't enough. Proof that he murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of the body. You know, there really isn't anything aside from this. Was this ever updated? No, it wasn't. I don't think there is. I think my gut instinct was right on this one. Yeah, no, there's really nothing like beyond a shadow of a doubt. I'm gonna say no to that, but I'm kind of locked into this now. Oops. Oh, there's ways of fixing that. I fixed. And that's why we save. I don't have any proof. Nope. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence.
CRG?
In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief.
What? Uh-oh.
I don't gamble unless the stakes are high. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Aji, I'll leave the rest to you.
Oh, fuck. Wait a minute. Uh-oh. That's not good.
I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in the nation's law enforcement agency.
Oh, no! Ah! Oh.
Oh, Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean?
Wow, that was... They were totally showing me the exclamation marks to fuck with me. How dare they?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony.
A lady who knows the truth. Another witness.
In the absence of conclusive evidence, there is only other method. The only other method of proof is testimony.
But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify.
There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person?
Oh, I know what he's getting at.
Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth Lena Skye.
The defendant, Miss Lady Skye.
She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task? To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders.
Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor.
Edgeworth is a fucking bro.
Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in
Hold on. Who's talking?
Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat.
Listen good, Lena.
He's talking to Lena.
I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claim, there will be terrible consequences.
God, he's still fucking threatening.
That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Leo Marshall's murder.
This isn't good.
Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet.
Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess.
Jeez Louise. Let me refresh my Twitch page real quick. Sorry. Let me just read chat real quick. We got a lot of people checking this out tonight. Good. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. I was having some problems with chat. Should be fixed.
Hello chat, I will wave to you, hello. Hello everybody.
Alright, cool. So.
I want to get off Mr. Damon Gant's wild ride. Looks like we managed to stay in the game.
Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth.
Chief, he's something else, eh, pals?
Detective Gumshoe!
I'm not a detective anymore, see?
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Hello, MD, Suki, Kazi, Gale, Gamer. Who else is here tonight? Let me check the list. Gale, Kazi, Nightbot, me, Gamer, MD, and Suki. Oh, Momo. But yeah, hello everybody.
Don't worry, I've already decided where to work now. At your office, see?
My office?
Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl I used to work with.
Could he mean Maya?
Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief gets done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand?
It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify.
Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said?
But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
Risks? What did he mean by that?
It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true.
You mean he forfeits his right to say anything, too?
Would it?
Oh, hey, Emma. How you doing? Emma, are you okay?
Yeah. When I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery.
So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before.
No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved.
Relieved?
Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me.
Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her.
What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders, she must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do.
That must be why she became so cold.
It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now, see? If you want to go blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor.
I see.
Well, we'd better get back. It's time for the final act.
Emma, why don't you wait?
No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lena tells the truth.
Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this.
Sorry, I have to move OBS here. There we go. That's a little better. Got it. God, how much more of this is there?
Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lena Sky, please take the stand?
Miss Leia Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years.
Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you're under oath. We want to hear the truth.
Of course, the truth. Lena, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Aw.
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Gant.
Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. I think I'll drink some water. My throat's tightening. It's the case that never ends. This is the case that never ends. You get so on my friend.
I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Drake convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma.
Lena looks uncanny, probably because she looks a lot like Mia.
Are you sure about this testimony?
Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lena!
If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this.
That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
But what if she's telling the truth?
She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself.
The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
The kitties are sleeping. How many years exactly?
Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then. So that would be 5 years.
She 29? Oh yeah, she is. Mike Meekins. Officer Meekins! How old is everybody? Damon Gant is 65. Bruce was 36. Jake is 33. Angel's 31. Old Dick is 30. Emma's 16. Edgeworth is 24.
Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases.
She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia.
Damon Gant was a respectable detective, that's why.
There's no truth to this blackmail theory, huh? But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail.
You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And?
Fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. Did you do so to help your sister?
Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life.
But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything.
That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lena?
So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago.
You say you did this all by yourself?
Yes.
Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene?
It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body.
Broken prosecutor award knife, okay. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident.
That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement.
You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Doc?
Something like that.
If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Doc was carrying a switchblade knife.
Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle.
That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover it up with cover up her lies with more lies.
All just to protect me.
It's like they're reading each other's minds. It's weird.
So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to.
Yes.
Broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound?
And then you moved the body?
But why? Why would you do that?
You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders.
My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others. Why did you plant the knife? Why did you move the body? I think it's pretty obvious why you planted the knife, but why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body?
It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk.
But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there?
The reason for that is simple.
Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body.
Pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. Pieces of the jar? You mean...
Yes, that wretched jar Mr. Wright showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body.
So, when you first found the body, the jar was already...
Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead, and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have broken during their struggle.
I see.
What's the matter, Emma?
Apparently, the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there's more to it than that.
There must be a contradiction here somewhere.
Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone.
So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer?
How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period.
Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence?
She's lying! She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened! In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying!
Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself.
There's no way she could have done it alone!
You gotta get Lena to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Well, one thing I'm wondering... The fact that the piece of the jar inside Gant's safe... Hold on. Can we take a closer look at this? The fact that this stained piece was in Gant's locker, and the rest of this was wiped away, wouldn't that imply that she tried to wipe off the blood with the pieces that she had access to because it looked like it spelled Emma? The piece the chief has is different though. The blood stains on the other pieces are just spots, but this one's a line. That is odd. That is pretty fucking odd if you ask me. Maybe I can get her to talk about the other reason. Or putting the knife in the body. Why did you plant the knife? Why did you do that?
Come now, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out.
Very well, let's add this to the witness's testimony. The reason this guy fabricated the knife.
I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed. Wait. The testimony just changed. Well, according to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right?
Yes, and leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body.
So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound?
Yes, because I hated Dark for what he did.
Oh. I'm gonna call bullshit on that, Lena. Sorry. Nothing personal. Considering there's a jar with Emma's name on it. Oh. Generic incorrect thing! Uh-oh. Looks like my perfect streak is over. Shit. But that would have something to do with Emma, wouldn't it? If it was written on the jar. Wait, what did the other thing say? After we go through this again. Why did you move the body? Why'd you move it there? Reason for that is simple. Add it to the testimony. Pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threaten my plan. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. It had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime right away, it'd be clear what happened. Okay, so I was on the right track, just the wrong statement. Blah, 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 blah. They're hammering in this jar pretty hard right now, so I'm going with my gut here. Stupid testimony.
This testimony is baloney.
Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister.
You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered?
I have to pop my shoulder. Ugh. I've got like a stiffness in my shoulder. If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been useless. Even so, I'm compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony.
A contradiction in my testimony?
You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan."
That's right.
Do you have a problem with that?
It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood.
Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments.
Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. Oh. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. That makes a little more sense. I figured she was just trying to cover up the jar because it had Emma written on it, but I guess, yeah, it would still have to be in one piece, wouldn't it? Oh well. I figured she was just some kind of genius and did it while it was broken. Oh well.
Good enough.
He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar.
I digress. We'll just have to agree to disagree on that.
Order! Order!
Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here.
Something critical.
Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed.
What?
Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth.
Very well. The witness stand may now continue her testimony.
I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all.
Oh. Oh. Ho, ho. She doesn't know. She doesn't know about the other piece that Gant hid. I think that's what this is implying.
All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
Because she would have wiped that other piece too.
You mean you were the one who wiped away this message in blood?
I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time.
She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
I think. Immediately notice the blood traces on the jar. We're gonna press everything. So the jar was already broken?
It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier.
It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case.
Not as feeble as the judge's judgment.
You were an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces?
Normally I would have.
So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar?
No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust.
Well, that helps my case.
Lena, you'd do that for me?
It seems you two might make up yet.
Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was.
If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry.
I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came.
This is rather shocking.
I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened.
What do you mean?
If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood.
What else could I have done in that situation?
Lena,
I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces.
The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all.
But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office.
A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me.
even I carry my bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go.
I never miss anything. I got every last piece.
Are you sure about that, Lena? So you illegally rearranged the crime scene.
Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions.
I'm so sorry, Lena. I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time.
It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've gotten to the bottom of this incident.
No doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office.
More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony.
Hiccup. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. I think I know what he's talking about. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. Well, according to this piece of evidence right here, the jar, the final fragment was found inside Chief Gant's safe, which still has the blood on it. Meaning that she wouldn't have wiped that piece off. I'm not quite sure what order of events transpired here, but it's clear enough that she didn't wipe all the pieces off. But she feels pretty confident that she did. So I think that's going to be the contradiction in this case. Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of.
What?
We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe.
In the chief's safe? But how?
I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it.
But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them.
Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. Oh shit. That would explain it.
But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone for an ace detective.
That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe that?
Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken.
Oh, that.
There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness.
I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar?
The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Douche. Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that?
No!
Wait, what? Wait a minute.
Wait, I'm not the one on trial here.
Okay, then.
Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called?
Fabrication.
But why would Chief Gant do that?
In light of what happened afterwards. Isn't it clear?
What happened afterwards?
Discovering the scene, Lena Sky believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And here is the reason. The reason why Miss Sky became the chief's puppet.
Oh! She bit her thumb and it bled.
No! I did it all on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake.
No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone.
Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says.
Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients.
Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client.
I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth.
Wait a minute. What if... we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap?
Is something wrong, Mr. Wright?
Lena, maybe right after all.
What do you mean, Wright?
So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
Miss Sky, please testify once more.
But...
if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall.
Miss Sky, if you will.
I can't.
There is nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth.
Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw.
All right, the witness may testify once more for the final time.
Did we just interrogate the judge? Yes. Yes, we did. We just had him have a meltdown.
When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor's sword.
You mean the spear?
Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent.
Unbelievable! The body was impaled on the armor's sword.
It was a spear. I thought it was a javelin or spear or whatever. Am I stupid?
You'll be the only one who saw that. If only you had proof.
Actually, I do have proof.
You do?
I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning.
What? To me?
It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed.
But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lena must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you.
Excusez-moi?
Remember, Mr. Wright, please present this picture.
I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lena.
Lena said she gave it to you this morning, right?
I seem to remember getting something from her then.
Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere.
Oh, is it inside the book? Also, what is this a picture of? It's a little chick with the detective hat and a pipe. That's adorable. Oh, there it is. Sneaky deaky. Hey, there's a picture here.
Oh my! This is the actual crime scene.
Blech.
No other detective saw the crime scene like this. That's because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I rearranged the scene.
Wow.
Mr. Wright! That piece cut out from his vest, could that be?
Oh, there's a hole in his vest. Look at that. Do you see it? There's like a shape cut around his left breast, like just right underneath it. The cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe. What's this?
It's a handprint.
And that would have been where Emma pushed him.
That cloth. It had fingerprints on it. Whoever's fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
Oh, right. She still doesn't know. What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma.
Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright?
Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer.
Uh-oh. This is bad. That's gonna pin her for the murder if we show that.
Very well. The defense may not begin its cross-examination.
That's bad. This all feels like a ruse. I did not. Oh. Oh, guess who's back?
Come now, Aji. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen.
Chief Gant!
What? Now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense.
I'm afraid it's too late for that.
What?
You've already declined testimony. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort.
This must be the risk the judge was talking about.
Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck.
Ah, so what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements.
What do you mean?
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence?
I have to take a sip.
No, I don't, but someone does.
Someone?
So then, what's your excuse, Righto?
Uh-oh.
Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt.
Is this true, Mr. Wright?
Oh, shit. If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer.
Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you would be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries.
I like the pause in text, so I have to awkwardly pause. What do I do now? I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? Save! Save! Ah! Oh, God. There's Emma Sky's prince. Okay, let's just take a second and just think. Let's just think this through real quick. It does seem like presenting it is going to be pretty damnable. But I almost wonder if they're kind of setting me up for a ruse. You know, there is something about this that bothers me. If he coughed up blood all over his vest, how come there's no blood on the piece of leather? Unless it's on the other side. Wait a minute. Let me flip it over. No, it's clean. Just fingerprints on it. But no, they're talking entirely about the strip of cloth just now. But that's still gonna pin Emma on it. That's not good. Let's not forget this, too. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case and trial. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. If he's goading me into showing off the piece of cloth, that doesn't mean that he's giving me his approval. I don't think. Is that how this works? Approval of the police department is kind of a vague thing when I think about it. Like, what designates approval? I'm going to say... no. I can't. That's what he wants me to do. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
What? You lie!
Chief Gant?
You opened my safe! I know you took what was inside! The conclusive evidence!
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it.
What are you talking about, Chief Gant?
Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area?
Looks like part of it's been cut off for some reason.
You mean you had this in your safe?
What? That means you, the chief of police, concealing evidence! This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department!
Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
What? You mean you admit to it?
Huh?
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lena.
So you really were manipulating her.
I knew Lena. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid.
So you assisted Miss Sky.
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Doc convicted.
When we rearranged the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence.
What is his tie anyways? I want it. I don't know what it is, but I want it. It's pretty dope. And I want this bright-ass orange suit, too. Gigantic buttons.
I hid 2 pieces of evidence. I did this before Layla arrived at the scene.
2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe?
But why?
For insurance, of course.
Insurance?
I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed.
You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence?
Who do you think? Who do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lena to go and wipe her ass.
I'm sorry. The pause allowed it.
I didn't expect Lena to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces.
But if you fabricated all the evidence, what does it say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too?
Ho, 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 ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance.
You mean that piece of cloth?
Come now, Righto. Cough it up already. I know you have it.
He's telling me to give it up. I think he just approved the evidence.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright?
So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe?
Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
It's technically evidence now, I think. We can show it now.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Rhino. You should have shown it then before it was too late.
It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now.
Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall.
Yeah, no, we do want to show it now. But something... What's that gonna do? That still pins Emma on it. Wait a minute. Do you guys remember a little bit ago, not too long ago, that I said that there would have been blood on the piece of cloth? But there's no blood on it. And it's a piece of leather, and it's a piece of cloth. You can't just, like, wash that out. It would have washed the prints out, too. Do you think... Do you think he cut off the cloth and then stuck him on the suit of armor? If that's the case, then this is evidence that proves it, I think. I really hope I'm on the right track here. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest?
Oh, yes! At last you finally brought it out into the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth.
Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly.
You mean?
It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
Ho, 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 ho. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy.
What?
Think about it. Righto had all this time to present the evidence. yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be?
You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that?
Mr. Wright, do you really know?
Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they?
Oh god. I think I fucked up. I hope not. Very well, I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person whom these fingerprints belong to are... I mean, yeah. They belong to Emma.
Emma? Emma Sky?
What? They're mine?
I'm sorry, Emma.
But why? Why didn't you tell me?
You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me.
So it's true. Tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death.
How could you? You monster!
Miss Sky?
You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't.
The Sky, it's not over yet.
What?
I said this trial isn't over yet.
Ha, but I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposefully concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer?
Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up.
Oh? And what's that?
Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall?
What?
Chief Gant, you were absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask?
It was Emma Sky, wasn't it?
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction.
What? A contradiction? What is the fool babbling about?
I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. God, I need water so bad. Oh, my throat is sore from 3 days straight of this.
Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth. What could it possibly contradict?
Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth, and I think I know what it is. Clean cloth? Bloody vest.
And what exactly is this supposed to be?
This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out?
Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though.
Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth.
Oh, but that piece of cloth.
It's clean as a whistle, baby.
Wait, there's no blood on it.
Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword.
No! This is nonsense!
Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside.
He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword?
Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. Then he broke the jar on purpose to leave behind a clue, and make Lena believe her sister did it.
Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, I thought it said cheating, you proved that you were the actual murderer. It's finished. Uh-oh. Objection? Oh.
Whoa! That was close, Wright. You almost had me.
What? What now?
Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations.
Do you mean you refute his allegations?
You see that piece of cloth? It's illegal evidence.
That's where you're wrong, Gant.
Order! Order! What nonsense is this?
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Angie? Only old Wright here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Rhino? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you?
Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence.
At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
But that's not fair.
Oh, did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son.
I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Now, Mr. Edgeworth?
True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Well, Mr. Wright?
It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and legally concealed this piece of cloth?
Wait a minute. Just to be on the safe side here. I just edged the entire viewer base right now. They want to see me choose. Well, technically, I didn't illegally consider it because it was illegal evidence at the time. So... Well, wait a minute. No, they're saying... No, they're saying the cloth is illegal evidence. So that would mean... Purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth. No, you know what? No, I didn't. Certainly, I refused to present evidence at one point.
So the evidence is illegal.
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant.
Huh?
It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't.
What do you mean, you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involved in presenting evidence.
No, Archie, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't let him.
Shut the fuck up, Gant.
There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not?
Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
Oh, you better believe I will. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law.
What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law.
Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department.
Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case and trial.
And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident.
What? What kind of nonsense is this?
Because he admitted it.
You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented?
It was shown only a few moments ago.
No!
He is right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless.
The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant.
You yourself confessed to a certain truth.
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest?
Oh, yes. No!
Wait a minute. Does the website not work anymore? Oh, come on! Oh, is this the one?
It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the Chief of Police, personally approved this cloth.
The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person that could be... Damon Gant. The killer was you!
I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me.
Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty.
He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Star, then convinced Bruce Goodman.
Detective Goodman?
Yeah, that's right.
If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. Bless your heart.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he had to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman?
Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? Here, let me make OBS visible again. There we go. Just make sure I didn't drop anything. We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered.
He told me to cover up the evidence, or to open up the evidence room and take it out.
It's not too late. I'll hand this to Marshall.
Well, to be honest, I was a little panicked too. I had a bad feeling about it, but never knew it would come to this. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out.
You would only increase the amount of blood and you couldn't finish what you started.
Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I was wiping it up. I was worried so much about the floor I didn't realize my mistake.
Detective Gumshoe's bloody handprint.
I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it.
Then you put the body in my car?
I'm sorry, we couldn't think of any other way to move the body. We broke the trunk, but what's the big deal? You pulled down a lot more than us detectives.
What does this have to do with anything? You're horrible! How could you get Miss Sky involved in all this?
Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker?
I feel bad for having to do it. I couldn't sit around and pick and choose what to take.
Well, you left the jar fragment in gloves.
Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay.
Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination.
Oh god, I'm so thirsty.
Oh. You must have known that.
Tell me, Worthy, what are you doing in court?
Me?
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day, you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Haji.
What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
I'm sorry too, Demon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you were no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Haji. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. You see, if I listen carefully, I can hear it right now. The sound of a new beginning.
There are two things I want you to understand.
Yes?
First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent.
You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years, from the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today.
So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble.
My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top.
Aww.
I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright.
Miss Sky,
And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you.
It was nothing. Liar.
I was worried the pressure might break you, and yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth.
Stop it. I only did my job.
In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling?
It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains.
Well, this trial has gone far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lena Sky,
not guilty.
Yeah! Yeah!
Finally!
that is all. The court is adjourned.
It's been about 2 hours, hasn't it? Huh. I might have to BRB now. Oh, that's a shame. Although I do need to give my voice just a small break. Just a small break. I'll be quick though, I promise. Let's find some more upbeat music to play this time. Let's see. Let's see. What is this song? Hold on, let me test it. Yeah, this song will work. Not that upbeat, but, you know, it works well enough as BRB music. So, anyways, I will be back soon, guys. Just give me a moment to drink some water and just give my voice a break. Be back soon. Don't go anywhere. Here I am. I didn't want to keep you waiting for too long. I figured some warm water might actually help me a little more, and it did. I feel a lot better. My throat is sore after 3 days straight of this. But let's finally get to the end of it, huh? We've all been waiting for this. I certainly have. Let's see. Here you are. February 25th, 5:03 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Welcome back, thank you. At long last, it's finally over. Oh. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended.
I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And you too, Mr. Edgeworth.
Aw, she didn't thank Emma.
You suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well.
You know, I did my best too. But Lena didn't say a single word to me.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Ah, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it all off, you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. The fuck? We keep saying the same thing over again. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding, see?
Oh, are you here because of my sister again?
Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
Me?
That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Oh, yay! There's Lena.
Lena!
Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't.
Emma, I owe you an apology.
It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it.
That day 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess.
Sis?
I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. But now, I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day.
She became Beautiful Joe. Her scarf makes me think of Beautiful Joe.
I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years.
God, excuse me. My throat is fucked.
I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew.
But sis, you were only doing it for me.
No.
Hey, Boogie.
Huh?
I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you.
Boogie, shut up. Shut up. Sis,
I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry.
but sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now.
You're happy?
Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have.
Aw.
Oh, Emma, Emma.
Aw, happy. Happy moment. It's sad. It's sad because she's still going to jail. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our path. And once we've found our path, we can move on from our past mistakes towards a brighter future. At least that's what I felt looking at those two sisters make up.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe,
Me?
thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth?
Edgeworth?
Stop hiding and come over here.
Sulking over in the corner. Where was he hiding?
I just came to say, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Right, well, I'll be going now.
Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you.
It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't change my own mistakes.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right.
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day, you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed.
I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. It's scary, but I've been thinking the same thing for quite some time now.
But Edgeworth?
Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor.
Edgeworth? Don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said, in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. That may be right, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lena's talking about.
Evidence that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. Not be able to find on our own. What, the screwdriver? I don't know. We've been able to find on our own. We've been able to find on our own. What did Edgeworth have? He had the screwdriver. Oh, the evidence list! That's right. He had the other half of it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right. We had to pick it up off his floor. Well, no, that was the resignation letter. But no, he showed us the first evidence. Okay, yeah, this has to be it.
That's the picture I drew.
Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That's true.
That didn't just happen by chance, Edgeworth.
It's time for me to go.
Mr. Edgeworth.
If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor.
Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, what happened in this trial can either make or break you as a prosecutor. In the end, it's up to you.
I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem.
Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court.
Farewell.
I'd better be getting back too.
Okay, I'll come visit you.
It seems we both still have a lot to learn. Here, this is a little something for you.
Scientific investigation?
It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well.
Thanks, sis. I will.
Aww. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, Detective? It's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor, see? You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this.
What?
I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either.
Huh? Way to go, Detective! I didn't know you had a wild side.
Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here's the only... Mr. Wright here's the one who'll be footing the bill. What? What, you think I could afford that with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh?
Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best.
Why is it... I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Since we're all here, why don't we all go together?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go.
I need to... Objection!
Objection! Objection! Objection! Objection!
It's not working. He's not working.
It's not working! The mic isn't working! Oh no! Objection! 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 No, I'm dead serious. It's not working. It worked for the... It worked for the, for blowing away the fingerprint. Objection!
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 Fuck. Uh-oh. We have a problem. We have a problem. Wait. And we'll fix this. One moment. Let's see if this works. Objection! Yeah! There we go.
I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. She's a coroner. I think Emma will be pleased. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the final field somehow, and I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma.
I'm gonna have to make sure I read these quickly, because they're going quick. Yeah, the microphone actually wasn't working. Had to fix it. Yikes, I thought I was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office, see? If we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. Like a dingleberry on a dog's butt. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today.
I'll show them, though. Someday I'm gonna make detective. Yes, sir. Then I can be just like that Dick Gumshoe.
Yep, streaming software can be kind of funny sometimes. He just hit his injured hand, though. Yeah, he's been doing that a lot. Hey, look, it's the blue badger. You gonna say your piece, Blue Badger? Oh! It fell over. It finally died. Well, Edgeworth got his wish.
What is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with a steak lunch partner? Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's seeing one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, it looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water?
Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu, the Right Way lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards.
The game pulls a nasty trick in the end. If you present the cloth too early, you get an instant game over. Oh my god. I saved right before that happened, didn't I? Wow. Well, I'm glad I didn't do it.
I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing, something or other for, how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I'd better be... Huh? Oh no! I forgot my gavel! Sorry, gotta go!
I mean, they were pretty clear about not showing it. Like, they were like, don't do it. Don't do it. Ugh, gotta stop sitting on my foot. Hi, Bogey.
Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing Nick and his objections. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium.
Man, afternoon training's about to begin.
Coming! Well, see you around, Nick.
Yes, Bogey? Hi. Big cat.
Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Noisy boy. Mr. Edgeworth.
Ah, Mr. Edgeworth, I brought you your tea. What's going on?
Quiet down, Boogie. My goodness, you're making a scene. You're making a scene. I'm almost done. Chill out.
Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything.
I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lena, all I have to do is open this book.
Oh, is it time for me to investigate? Let's look at the picture on the front. It's another little duck. Or chick. Is there a picture inside? Ooh. What's this? Aww. That's really cute. Is that it? Are we all done finally? I think we're all done. Where did I save? For curiosity's sake. Did you purposefully and illegally conceal this piece of cloth? Okay, so I've saved past that point, so unfortunately we won't be doing that. I guess we could see what happens if I say I did. No, if I admit to that, all my planning will have been for nothing. Yeah, okay. Nah. I was gonna see if we could see what would happen if, we did it from the one choice where I had the option to present the cloth, but, no, we're not gonna bother with that. I'm assuming it would have been really heartbreaking, because it would have pinned Emma on the murder. Oh, man. Let's see. I need to know... I want to know what the name of that nice song is called. That really happy, upbeat song at the end. Let's see.
What is it called?
Let me mute this for now until I find it. I could play this. But I won't. I will find it though, given enough time. Of course, all of these have to be in alphabetical order. Actually, you know what? This one works too. I like this one just as much. So I'll go with this. Would help if you could hear it, huh? But yeah. Now, we are finally at the end of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Now, the only problem with that statement is there's more games. There's a lot more. There's 2 more, I think. And then there's a Phoenix Wright Layton thing. Although I've never played Professor Layton, but that might need to change. Especially if there's a Phoenix Wright crossover. But yeah, this was really fun to come back to, you know, despite my voice getting ripped from cheek to cheek. But I'm fine. I enjoyed getting back a chance to come back to this and, you know, do all the fun voices and get stumped on a lot of things. I just need to ask one question. Why was it that I had such a hard time with the first part of this case? And then the second part almost like fell together perfectly. I think I was just thinking way too far ahead. And then all of my predictions just ended up working out for this last part. Because I do really get too far ahead of myself when I play this game. So, wonder what happened if you presented Edgy with the trophy? I don't know. And I'm sure there's a lot of different things you can do. Or you might have just missed on that little extra piece of dialogue. But anyways, since I've been up late for the last 2 nights, and we've just now finished this, I am going to take a well-deserved sleep, and tomorrow I'm going to take a break. I need to give my voice a chance to recover. As you can hear, as you can probably hear, I'm kind of like on a very thin wire of my voice holding together. So, yeah, I'll give myself a break. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun, and I know a lot of you have been waiting to see this. And it took long enough, but I finally did it. So, we'll return back to normal stuff on Wednesday. I would like to get back to Mario and Sonic again, and just see what else I've got up my sleeve. I'll have to think about it. So, and plus this cat down here really wants my attention, so I'm gonna go attend to him.
See, why can't you be like Bimmy over here? He's sleeping. He's peaceful. He being a good boy. Well, you're not a good boy. You're very talkative. Meow meow meow. Meow meow meow.
No, he's up here on the arm. All he has to do is just stand up on his hind legs and he can reach me. You're so huge. You're like a dog. Here, just go over there for a minute while I say goodnight to anybody. Okay. Gamer says, Phoenix Wright 1 through 3, Apollo Justice, Investigations 1 and 2, Dual Destinies, and Spirit of Justice. Fuck me. By the time I get to all those. Oh, man. I will try to see if I can squeeze in some more Phoenix Wright here and there. Mostly just because these games are long. When you think about it, just how many parts of this were there? There were quite a few. So, yeah, I do enjoy the text-based adventure stuff, though. I think I'm kind of like rekindling, perhaps an interest in it that I didn't know I had. I mean, Phoenix Wright definitely pulled me in, so. But yeah, I do really want to see the other games for myself and to share them with you all. We'll just have to find a good time to do it. So, anyways, I've yammered on long enough. I will say goodnight to you guys now. We're ending the stream a little early, but that's just because I don't really have anything planned for the rest of the night as far as stream is concerned. Also, my actual laptop for the Switch is at work, so I'll have to bring that home tomorrow. Well, Wednesday. So yeah, anyways, hope you all have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and enjoying the stream. It was great having you in the chat and trying to solve the mystery together. So, as always, I will see you next time. Take care.